Merry Christmas everyone! Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for spending part of your holidays together with me. Okay, so today, right, instead of unboxing projects, gadgets, cameras, toys, or whatever tech tools, right, today we are unboxing something even more exciting. We are going to unbox Singapore's 2026 upcoming new launch, and this is my Christmas gift to you guys. So we're going to be unboxing a giant box filled with clarity, trends, pricing, and opportunities as you guys plan for the year 2026. So before we start unboxing all the launches, I want to zoom out for a bit. Because if you guys don't understand what's happening in the supply pipeline, the numbers, the trend, and all the hype that people throw at you, then all of the data we're going to be sharing later on, it doesn't mean anything. I always say this, we must have a good context before we look at prices. We must have a good decision-making framework before you guys even pull the trigger. So as usual, if you guys have any questions about the property market, please do scan the QR code and maybe this year Santa Claus will give you an amazing present. That is this amazing realtor right here to give you good advice. Ha ha ha! So first up, the big box. Camera crew put a big box here and okay. So what's actually coming for you guys? So between Q4 2025 and the first half of 2026, we are looking at approximately 15 new launches. Okay. Sounds like a lot, huh? Sounds very exciting, huh? It sounds like you are spoiled for choice. But actually, when you peel off the wrapping paper, actually not as much as you think. And I'm going to break it down to you. But don't worry, guys. Don't need to kanchiong, no need to memorize all these names. More importantly, as you listen to today's video, understand which segment actually matter to you and how you can capitalize on this upcoming supply. Alright? So here's the breakdown for what is coming up in terms of supply next year. 2 ECs coming up, 4 boutique developments, 9 proper condo developments, and let me unpack it for you guys. Alright, so first and foremost will be the 2 ECs. We have the Coastal Cabana as well as the Revel at Tampines. Now, Coastal Cabana currently is already open for preview already, and ECs generally being something that is more affordable to the general public, right? I do foresee that demand for these projects is generally going to be quite high. But again, with the MSR framework, right, a lot of new buyers may find themselves being priced out because of the hefty cash components required to enter into an EC. But nonetheless, ECs are still a very good stepping stone into your asset building journey, so stay tuned for that. And next up, we have our boutique developments, and this will be projects with lesser than 40 units. We have Sophia Meadows, Villa Natura, which is a landed launch, Duet at Emily, 1 Leonie Hill Residences. And if you guys are looking for those big condo launches, right, we of course have the Newport Residences. That one has been delayed for quite a while already. We have Narra Residences, which is in the Dairy Farm Central West location. River Modern, another anticipated one. Pinery Residences from Tampines. And we also have Tengah Gardens lah. That will be our first GLS in Tengah. Media Circle Pasir A, Bayshore GLS, Lentor Gardens, and of course the former Thomson View. Wow, quite a mouthful. But the key question to always ask ourselves is, would you even get a queue number to buy any of these projects? Because why? The supply, effectively, if you look at numbers versus demand today, supply is still rather low. And don't forget, in last year itself, the amount of over demand has actually built up all the way till now and all the way bringing us into 2026. So I always tell people this, if you do have an intention to move, go and speak to someone, get your progression going so that you guys can put in your queue number, and then if you get a good queue number, you guys can proceed to book the unit that you like. Alright, so out of these 15 units, right, a handful will definitely stand out. A handful will definitely be super well received. And I am going to be unpacking all of this for you guys today. Let's unwrap the key pointers, look at your entry pricing, look at land cost, and which one would really suit you. And in part 2 of this video, I will be reviewing my top 3 picks, and a wild card. So this will be my top choices, which will be in our second part of this video analysis. And please, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and then like this video so that when we drop it, you will be notified so you don't miss out good news ma. Oh? Okay, so let's start with the first project, and this is the first project that will be launching in 2026 all the way in the Central West. Now, most consumers would actually assume that the West location generally is slower, and therefore developers will kind of price this property a bit sensitively, and this will give you a pricing opportunity. What am I talking about? Narra Residences, ladies and gentlemen. So this is an OCR project in District 23 under the Dairy Farm subzone. So for this, site area will be 232,000, gross floor area 488,000, plot ratio will be 2.2, number of units will be 540. For this itself, right, the land cost is around 1020 PSF per plot ratio. Now, developer estimated break even for this project will be around 1,804. Alright, so location-wise, right, this actually sits along the Dairy Farm Road and is right opposite the botany. So it kind of benefits from the Dairy Farm Central West transformation. And also one thing over there is that back then, that location didn't have much to offer in terms of amenities, in terms of malls and stuff like that. But Botany, as well as these Narra Residences itself, they will be able to benefit from the Dairy Farm Residences commercial element, giving a lot more draw in terms of amenities and facilities as such. Okay, but like Botany, this is not going to be something that's MRT centric, which sometimes does matter a little bit when it comes to demand. So again, depends on individual. For buyers who are purely looking for MRT station, then this one is not going to be key for you guys. But again, I would think that one big part of entering to something that's worth investing could also be your entry price. So I'm going to go into the pricing right now. So when I share price predictions, let's not actually go by plucking numbers from the sky. Let's actually anchor them to some previous launches with similar land attributes. So what I have done over here is I actually pull in the prices of Nava Grove, which is Pine Grove Parcel B, and of course Elta as well. So both land parcels were sold at 1223 and 1250 PSF the plot ratio, and both actually don't have the kind of MRT connection lah. So back then their launch prices ranged on the low of 2109 PSF to 2200 PSF, average about 2478 to 2552 PSF, and the highs of 2748 to 2881 PSF. So low, average, high. So if we prorate this back to Narra Residences, right, it would probably give us a low, average, and high of these numbers. So you can see for the low, it will be about 1800 PSF to 1840 PSF, and it's averagely, right, we should be looking around 2066 to 2082 per square foot. And then from the high perspective, it will be about 2291 to 2350 per square foot. So realistically, right, you will be looking at this average price point, and I think that based on all this, right, it actually aligns with the break-even price of the developer itself. Now, of course, the most practical thing that you guys will be looking at is actually performance in that location, correct? Because a lot of buyers will come in, hey Roy, I see the surrounding never make money, they lose money, then how? Okay, so I'm going to give you historical performance. 4 bedrooms in Dairy Farm Residences, they have profited about 538k to about 593k, and 3 bedroom is about 300 to 350k. So I would say that in overall performance is pretty not bad. Of course, there are hotter districts and better projects that perform better. And maybe some of you will be asking us, hey, why is that so? Why is that so? I would think that very objectively, first will be the distance to MRT station. Alright, and secondly, because it's a new developing township, so in terms of demand, it's still a little bit slower, and because the limited population over in that area is still kind of like developing itself, that is probably the reason why it is generally a bit slower. But to me, I also see some form of opportunities over there, right? Because the demand is slower, the products is actually lesser. By going in, you actually get to benefit on a lower entry price, and your lower entry price will also help you have a safety exit in the future. And again, right, Narra Residences is the first GFA harmonized launch in that location. So what does that mean? If you guys have been following my videos, you will realize that GFA harmonized means you would get smaller in square feet, lower in quantum, but same kind of efficiency with a lower entry quantum. This will actually reset your entry price to about 2022 to 2023 entry pricing, and this could bring a wave of fresh upgraded demand into dairy farm residences, especially since right now the land supply in the West is slowing down. So who will this be very suitable for? If you guys are a West Side lover, you don't want to live in a resale market forever, and you want the lowest possible entry quantum into a maturing estate, right? Narra Residences is a box worth opening early. Alright, the next box we're going to be opening is an exciting box. This is River Modern, okay? This is totally different from what we have spoken on earlier on, which is all the way in the Central West. This is right in the heart of the central area, central region, alright? So this location is definitely one of the most demand dense and supply starved district in Singapore. River Modern is going to be the last plot of land in the River Valley area, and this is going to be in the CCR region. So let's look at the details over here, alright? So gross floor area is around 350,000 square feet. Number of units will be 455 units. Land cost is approximately 1420 PSF per plot ratio. Now, estimated break-even will be around 2,400 per square foot, and the likely launch date is February 2025. Okay? I'm going to be giving you guys some context in terms of land bids in that location, so that you guys actually have some reference point when it comes to pricing, right? So for Zion Grand itself, their land bid was done at 1322, and then for River Green was done at 1325. Promenade Peak was done at 1304. Now, all three projects did tremendously well, and that actually shows us once again, right, that land cost and launch price doesn't really play into factor, especially when the location can afford, especially when the demand in that location can afford. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys, right, for River Modern, 1420 PSF per plot ratio, and this is going to be the highest over there so far. Alright, and again, in this location itself, we realize one thing. Central launches, right, generally they don't price it just based on logic. They also price it based on psychology lah, scarcity lah, the momentum of that location. So what I want to do here is I want to get something of a similar attribute, something like One Marina Gardens, to give a reference benchmark. Okay, because if I use the balanced launches to give a benchmark, it may not be the most accurate because the momentum has been moving very fast. So I will use One Marina. One Marina Gardens, right, their lens is actually done at 1402 PSF per plot ratio. So that will translate into a low, average, high of these numbers. So low will be 2770, average will be 2955, and the highs will be 3310 launch price. Now, if we were to prorate this to River Modern by applying the same logic, right, that would give us River Modern to enter at the low price of 2800, average price of 2992, and a high price of 3552. So realistically, I think we will be seeing prices at 3,000 plus per square foot units lah. So this is something that people should be prepared for. And of course, at this point of time, people will start to tell me, in fact, I've heard this so many times already. People say, hey, Veroy, that side really oversupply leh. And here's the thing where people miss out. Okay, when they see multiple launches in this location, generally the first assumption is oversupply. So if we were to look at the entire current supply for the River Valley launches, right, it actually brings us to about 2,600 units, and that one is actually driven by 5 huge upgraded clusters. So if you look at the immediate focus of the HDB that is driving the demand for these 2,600 units, right, we will be looking at Tiong Bahru, Redhill, Kallang, Bidadari, as well as Queenstown area. So this total population, when we add them together, right, we have 356,000 population. Now, assuming if only 5% of them upgrades, we will be looking at a total number of upgraders of 17,845 units. And of course, we cannot assume that everybody buy one unit, right? So we divide by the national average of 3.11 packs in a household, and that will bring us to, in terms of demand, for 5,737 units. Whereas in all the supply in the River Valley cluster itself, there is only 2,600 units. That's a 2.2 times supply deficit, and we are not even counting the larger townships like MacPherson, like Circuit Road, or seeing people from East Coast, Hougang, Moon Lay, Pasir Ris, Flora Drive, all these oversized township, right, that actually saw strong profitability, right? Because Singaporeans, right, once they actually see strong profitability, they don't actually downgrade their location. And where will these people go to? They start to progress towards the central region. So this is like, again, Singapore climbing a societal ladder. People don't actually try to go backwards, and that is why a lot of times city fringe development is always something that has a high demand. So psychologically, right, how would this actually play out? I'm going to share with you guys, because this is going to be the final plot in River Valley. Okay, there will be a lot of fear of missing out, FOMO. There will be a lot of oversubscribed in terms of the balloting, because people say, oh, last chance. And developer Guacoland definitely know how to play this game one. So what I'm going to be expecting, right, for River Modern is definitely units which are smaller because of GFA harmonization, lower quantum, but high PSF. Okay, in terms of absorption, or the take-up rate, is definitely going to be very high. Okay, so who will be suitable for River Modern? Now, if you are somebody who have gotten back queue numbers the whole year long in the earlier launches, you guys want the second shot at Central Living, this is the one. Okay, or if you guys want to park your capital in a very scarce precinct, right, in a scarce location, River Modern is literally your last ticket in, alright? And not forgetting, right, for those of you who are sitting on the fence with the surrounding launches in that location itself, I would think it makes a lot of sense for you guys to enter in those before the oversubscribe and FOMO effect comes from River Modern, and they don't get the unit that they want, and then it spill up to the current launches, the current post launches, and end up with Somerto Microtown. Okay, bear in mind the last plot already, so some level of urgency is required now. Okay, so let's move all the way to the east side, best side, right, to the most hype sites of 2026. We're going to be looking at Pinery Residence. Okay, so when I first saw this name, Pinery, actually, I couldn't understand. But after a while, I think, Tampines, is that the reason why they call it Pinery? Okay, so this is going to be a mixed-use development, likely launch will be Feb or March 2026. Developer is Hoi Hub. Okay, and in terms of the MRT station, is actually about 230 meters to MRT Tampines West, within 1 kilometer of Chun Yuan Primary School. And for the land cost over there, so the land cost per plot ratio is 1004, and the break-even price for developer will be estimated around 1823 per square foot. Alright. So for price benchmarking, right, I will be benchmarking it against Parktown Residences. So Parktown Residences, their land cost is 885 PSF per plot ratio. For their launch price, the lowest was at 2146, the average was 2369 PSF, and the highest was 2605 PSF. Now, if I were to prorate it to Pinery Residences, this will actually give me a low entry price of 2434 PSF, average price of 2687 PSF, and also a high benchmark of 2955 PSF. And that is why perhaps agents are already starting to quote buyers of about 2425 PSF already. Not because we are trying to stir the hype of the market, right? But because the land cost mathematically makes this projected price as it is. You can't really defer too much. Okay, so what to expect when Pinery Residences is launched, right? So this would likely set a new OCR benchmark already. And again, over there, we will also start to see smaller units due to GFA harmonization. A lot of buyers right now, they will shift from PSF into a quantum-centric kind of approach. What does that mean? It means you don't really focus so much on what's the PSF anymore. In fact, the PSF pitch today is really very irrelevant these days, People focus on quantum, people focus on layout. When the quantum and the layout make sense, your exit strategy will also make sense as well. And this will also pull prices up around Tampines area. And once again, right, this Pinery Residences also has a mall, which is a mixed development, and this is going to be so-called managed by the developer with anchor tenants. That would mean long-term rental resilience, right? So most of the time, I am also a fan of integrated developments or mega mixed-use developments, because these projects actually become an anchor in the neighborhood itself, and then they always hold their value. Strategy wise, right, if you guys are looking for something that is probably more affordable and wanting to benefit from the pull up prices from Pinery itself, I would really look at Parktown, because that would probably give you that pull effect created by Pinery Residences. So who will this be for? If you are a loyalist, you are Tampines loyalist, east side, west side, long-term stability, don't really want to sell and buy too much, and you are okay to perhaps accept a higher PSF for premium convenience, right? Then this is a project that you definitely must look out for. Alright, next up, I'm going to be unwrapping the next box for you. This one is a giant because it has ingredients of a solid performer. And those of you who understands Singapore's property cycle, right, and infrastructure phases, right, this one might be one of the most meaningful opportunities of 2026. I'm talking about Thomson View. Okay, a quick look at Thomson View. This is in the ASEA location in District 20. Land size 540,000 square feet. GFA 1.13 million. Not price, GFA 1.13 million square feet. It's going to be a 1,200 unit development. Developer will be Qingjian and CapitaLand Development. For schools, this is within a 1 kilometer radius to Ai Tong Primary and a short walk to Upper Thomson MRT station. So this is opposite Thomson Plaza as well. Immediately, right, based on these things, MRT lah, mall lah, top school, livability, good pricing in terms of size, this is a super powerful combination. This will not be just one of those new launches. This is going to be one of those launches, right, that checks every box that investors and families care about. And the big plus is that it sits in a district with limited high supply, with huge natural demand. The land was acquired via en bloc at 1178 PSF per plot ratio, which for a city fringe site with an MRT and a school is genuinely competitive. Now, if you were to reference that to a recent Little India GLS with similar attributes, that went for 1450 PSF per plot ratio. So you can already see why I say that it's really genuinely competitive, alright? So if you were to benchmark it a little bit, right, I will be a little bit nerdy over here. So I will benchmark the price against Sky at Holland. So I will reference it to Sky at Holland. Why? Because same developers, similar land attributes, MRT access, generally upscale neighborhood in the transformation location as well. So Sky at Holland, right, their land cost is 1285 PSF per plot ratio. Their launch price, the lowest was around 2005 per square foot, averagely 2009, and the highest of 3003 per square foot. So if we were to prorate it back to Thomson View, prorating it right will give us a low entry of 2381 PSF, average PSF of 2697, and the highs of 3032 per square foot. Now realistically, right, I think developers may stage the prices up to around 25 to the highs of 28 per square foot, which again for a site of ASEA location with all these attributes is definitely aligned with what the market is ready to accept. So when it comes to livability, right, I will always tell people this: there are launches, right, that sells because they are cheap, and there are also launches that sell because they feel like home. Now, Thomson View is a project that will sell not because it's cheap, but because people love living there. And when people love living there, that actually translates to a natural demand, and that will also give a strong resale support. When all these things come together, overall, you will see a very strong exit strategy for this unit itself. Upper Thomson is currently in the infrastructure phase of our transformation framework. And if you guys haven't found out what is transformation all about, you guys can definitely click on my video over here to understand how to mark out the different phase of transformation. Because in Singapore, right, the most meaningful upside is usually created at the transformation infrastructure phase. So over there, you of course have the Thomson East Coast Line connectivity, you have the North-South corridor, you have the cycling networks which actually kind of improve the whole car-like concept that the government wants, urban rejuvenation, park connectors, and many more. So this location itself is not like government say and haven't do yet. This is already say, planned, funded, and in the midst of transforming already. Alright, so plant yourself over there and take advantage of this timing as well. Now, when I say timing, what do I mean by that? Okay, timing of the land soak. And why you guys can take advantage of the timing of this launch. Because if you guys are following the news, right, Thomsonville actually went through a very messy en bloc saga, right, and were caught disputes, this and that. The land was effectively purchased at yesterday's pricing and then launched at today. Right, this time lag, right, actually creates an opening for early buyers to capitalize on the entry price. So Thomsonville land price 1178 PSF, Little India GLS 1450 PSF. So if you are paying RCR pricing below CCR fringe land, as Singaporeans, instinctively we recognize all these value gaps already, right? And this is obviously one of them. So who will be the demand drivers for these projects? They will be the families chasing Aitong, they will be the buyers wanting the PEL line, they will be the people who want quiet green homes, and of course the upgraders, as I mentioned earlier on, from all over Singapore who wants the RCR status. Alright, for investors wise, they will be the ones who want a very proven exit, and buyers who are parents planning it ahead for the PSLE strategy, and investors who are looking for a assured exit. Now this emotion plus logic plus the location itself actually forms a triple threat. In terms of supply, 1,200 units may sound like a lot, but in a strong family-oriented district with limited new land, that is really not a lot lah. Alright, of course, nothing is for sure, okay? Even though I say the project is very good, don't go and chiong, whatever price you also buy, no. Because this one, right, prices will not cheap, okay? Competition, fierce one, confirm, okay? Because this is not ulu place ma. And with that, right, I always tell people, set a benchmark cut off. Know your strategy very clear. Know your exit strategy. Know your safety net. Are you able to fight through it despite the changes of times? And if the answer is a big resounding yes, 敢做个开心人, alright? So who is this project for? Thomsonville, right, is definitely for the buyers who want MRT, who want top school, who want greenery, stylish livable homes. They want the convenience of the RCR, and they also looking at a long-term stay. So in that location, not necessarily you will get the lowest PSF, but you get the best of all worlds. So that's who this project is for. So that's Thomsonville from me to you guys, and honestly, if you guys have been feeling priced out or balloted out of good RCR launches in 2025, keep an eye on this Thomsonville, because I think this is probably the last one that will check all of your boxes already. Okay, so 25 days of Christmas, right? You don't open all your presents at one go. That's all for part 1 of unboxing. Stay tuned for part 2 of my video when I'll unbox the rest of the new launches for you guys. And of course, I will be also revealing my top 3 choices and wildcard. So, Merry Christmas everyone. Thank you for being with me this entire year. Wishing you guys a blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. Remember to like and subscribe. Ho 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 ho!